All right, so
I have to give you a little bit of credit for this.
Yeah, we can overdub it later. Just
yeah,
Had any crazy stories about? Oh wait, no, I do. I got robbed at gunpoint, mugged.
Checking for me, but I ain't checking for them. No.
sleazy real estate guys.
But you.
All right, so another episode of the EP podcast here, going beyond the headlines once again. We have a lot of topics to cover. There's been a lot going on this week. And with me, as always, our co-host, Arthur. Arthur, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
I'm here, man. I don't know. The audio feels kind of weird. I feel like we sound a little louder than usual. Are you good with audio?
I'm okay.
Okay, cool. No. No, unless I specifically say so, don't. All right. So we got a lot going on. A lot has been happening with riots, with Elon, Trump, the whole nine, plane crashing. We even have a little bit of a local story that's at this point developed with the whole Amber Alert situation that has been taking place. So there's a lot to uncover. So, but before we do that, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on that notification bell for many more episodes to come. So, Arthur, let's go ahead and get the ball rolling. The ladies have made up.
Okay.
Do you know who I'm referring to?
The billionaire and the current 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue resident.
Okay, yeah. So Trump and Elon made up. Did you think it was going to happen this fast, or even at all? Because you said in our last recording that the relationship was going to go south. Literally, this was past Friday, and now they've already made up. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
It really feels like this may have been some sort of stunt on Elon's side. Not on Trump.
I asked you whether or not this could have been something that's maybe orchestrated to get some attention somewhere. You said no. Your answer was no.
Because it was not on both sides.
What was not on both sides?
Trump's feelings were legit against Elon.
How do you know that?
Trump's not a good actor.
And you're a judge of good and bad acting?
Do you watch TV? Do you watch movies?
You watch more TV than I do, arguably, because you have it right in your office. Okay, so what do you think happened here? Like what? Like why all of a sudden the sudden change?
Well, if you'll notice, it was Musk went to Trump.
Mm-hmm.
After Trump went out, publicly announced the relationship's over, he's not going to talk to him again. Like was it. And then Elon takes steps, not full steps, but takes some steps backwards.
I mean,
which now, in my opinion, may have been a way to make sure he can still stay at Tesla.
Now, here's what I think. From Trump's whole side of it, he was very up in the air about it. And when he was publicly out speaking, it was, I'm disappointed in Elon. When people would ask him, have those two spoken before everything got resolved, he was like, I don't know. I asked him has he called? Ask him if he's called me. Ask him if he's gonna call me. It was never. I don't think I saw much slashing on Trump's side, unless I missed a truth thread or something.
He made a few comments.
What comments did he make? Did you see any in particular?
Well, he actually threatened Elon.
Threatened by what? Pulling government contracts with Tesla?
I believe there was something to the extent that if Elon supported Democrats, then he would have to pay for that.
No. Okay, I know exactly what comment you're talking about. Pull that up really quick on Google. Trump, Elon, Democrat comment. Because I did see that, but I want to make sure we're getting it correctly. Go to images, serious consequences. Because a lot of especially when it comes to Trump, things could freaking get skewed in so many different ways fast. Go to all tab, and then go to that. It looks like NBC News link 6 days ago. This was 6 days ago. So this was before, because it was Monday. Monday, Elon called Trump privately and apologized. On Wednesday, he came out and said that he regretted some of the things he said, that they were too harsh or something like that.
Some of the things, not everything. And he deleted some posts on X, but not all of them.
Okay, so back to this. Very serious consequence if he funds Democratic candidates. Let's go down here. Okay, so President Donald Trump on Saturday said there would be serious consequences if tech mogul Elon Musk funds Democratic candidates to run against Republicans who vote in favor of the GOP's sweeping budget bill. Okay. If he does, he'll have to pay the consequences for that. The consequence maybe being pulling some government contracts from Tesla. That's probably what it was.
Doesn't matter.
Huh?
That's a threat. And sitting behind the Resolute decks, you can't make threats to a citizen.
You know, it's very interesting how quick you turn the table when it comes to Elon. One day he's crazy, the next he's coming to his senses.
I didn't say
and
he
now he's
wasn't
just the
crazy.
Citizens. Huh?
I've not said that. I still think he is.
You think he's crazy? I mean, I would. You got to be Elon. You got to be a little bit crazy.
You've asked me if I'd ever invest in Tesla, and I've told you no.
No, yeah,
because he can come out with one photograph or one statement, and the stock tanks 20% in 5 minutes.
Mhm.
That's not stable.
Elon, but that's because he has one. He's the richest. He was the richest person on earth at one point. Then he got tied up with Elon, and then that slowly hinged, like maybe two. I think we spoke maybe fourth, fifth place in the wealthiest of public net worths. But as we spoke about, the stock had taken a big hit that week when they were going through that conflict. I think it was 15% that it went down. But this week, it actually went back up. It went back up. So to pull up Tesla stock and put it on the 5-day yield. So look at that. Almost 14%. And then go to 1 month. See, so if you look at June, Friday was June 6th. So but that happened when? It was Friday that came out the threat. The Epstein post, the Epstein Twitter post with the saying that he was on the list, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Yes, that's what it was. So June 6th. It was on June 6th. So the market reacted. But it's slowly rallied back up. So now it's back to essentially what it had lost. It recovered what it had lost. So now it's back there. Now the other thing that was very interesting, right, was when we were speaking about the black eye that he had when he was getting the golden key to the White House. You remember that? Pull up a picture of his black eye.
Did you find out what happened?
So pull up a picture of Elon's black eye. And then go to images. Slow internet today. Okay, click that first image. Yeah, so the black eye. And he had said... He had said that his kid X had hit him, but no one bought it. No one bought it at all. And I particularly asked you, do you think something happened behind closed doors that maybe has not publicly come out yet? You said no. Do you recall that?
I do.
Oh, yeah. So turns out that something did happen. What specifically happened was that he had a disagreement with the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent over who's going to be the acting IRS commissioner. And I guess they had a meeting with Trump. And then once Trump sided with Bennett and they stepped out of the Oval Office, they started going back and forth with like insults, verbal insults. And then Elon had bashed Bessent's ribcage, and Bessent had hit him in the eye. So apparently that's what happened. So, and then the press secretary came out and made the statement, I believe it was just a few days ago. She said, I certainly wouldn't describe it as a fist fight. It was definitely a disagreement, she shared. although I was not there, I didn't witness it with my own eyes. I heard about it through secondhand reporting. But again, we moved on from that. The president has moved on from it, and the entire administration is focusing on passing the big, beautiful bill.
So Elon assaulted someone in the White House and wasn't arrested?
it's an interesting dynamic. It's an interesting dynamic. Do you think he should be arrested?
He should have been taken in custody.
Mhm.
He assaulted someone in the White House, a government military
Mhm.
base.
Now, say that did happen. You think he should be behind bars right now?
The law applies to everyone. He should have gone in the custody, posted bail, and go through due
Yeah.
process.
No, I agree. If it's actually true, then I completely wholeheartedly agree that he should be behind bars because X definitely didn't do that, and if X did, he probably has a future in some form of martial arts. But yeah, look at that. Look at that.
But it's not uncommon for a parent to take a bruise while playing with a kid with a toy or a ball or something.
Yeah, but the likelihood of that happening with the time he spends with his sons.
Oh,
and
there we
all-
go. So you're saying Elon's not a good dad.
I think it's in Elon's world. Elon is a unique example. I think it's more likely that he gets into a disagreement with someone in the administration, gets into a scuffle, than he gets a black eye from one of his kids. I think that's more likely to happen. But what are you gonna do? So the
But
lady.
you were asking me about behind the scenes between Elon and Trump getting into a fist fight.
No, I asked. Well, let's revisit it. Let's revisit it because I want to make sure that I asked correctly. Open a new tab on Instagram. We have a bookmark right there, and then go to profile, and then reels, and then let's see here. Well, don't hover over it. Who needed move? Elon Musk. What really happened? Click on that. And then I'll mute it. And let's see. Elon, when they made that big media thing where they were in the Oval Office and Elon showed up and he had like a purple eye, but he just kept dancing around the question of what had happened. And then days later, a week later, we hear all this beef. You think there was something that happened behind scenes? No? Because you remember what happened to Jack Ma So I didn't ask directly with Trump, but apparently something did happen. And yet there's no one 100% certainly saying that it did. I mean, Bassett hasn't come out and made a public statement that indeed happened, but I don't think he ever would to begin with.
So you asked me the question a week after it happened.
No. I asked, no. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So an incident happened in the White House
I see where
and
you're
it
going.
wasn't publicly shared.
Mm-hmm.
I think that raises more questions than anything else.
Why do you say that?
An incident happened in the White House and was not publicly shared.
Mm-hmm. Every little incident that well, I know it's not little, but like every single incident in the White House should be publicly shared.
I'm going to say anybody that has an altercation with someone else where it's physical needs to be shared.
Okay. No, I agree with you with that. I agree with you with that because it is relevant.
The White House is the people's house. It belongs to the United States population, not to any one occupant.
Yeah. No, I'm completely on board with you on that here. It's interesting, and I don't know what's gonna happen next with Elon. I think that Elon, like what you said earlier, he realized that maybe it's in his best interest to be in good terms with the current administration than not. But who knows?
He realized that he needed to disagree with the current administration to help cement his place at Tesla and then go back and recant what he said.
So which is interesting too, because Elon is mega rich. He's substantially richer than Trump too, I believe. By hundreds. But what does that say to you about Trump going toe to toe essentially with one of the richest man on earth, and just like that, within a week, Elon bends the knee for a lack of a better term.
But as I'm kind of alluding to, this was Elon calculating to ensure his position at Tesla, because it was getting pretty shaky there.
I think this is going to play well next into what I'm going to ask you to pull up. Pull up Elon Musk 40-year tweet. Something like that. And then go to images. See if it comes up. All right. Let's see here. That third image. Yeah. Open that. It says, oh, and some food for thought as they ponder this question. And this was on June 5th, the day before he sent that Epstein tweet. Trump has 3.5 years left as president, but I will be around for 40 plus years. What is your reaction to that? To Elon saying that?
Well, honestly, we can only hope Trump has 3.5 years left as president. His health appears to be declining rapidly.
I think, but I'm specifically asking about the statement Elon is making. Bigger picture here.
Well, Elon's much younger than Trump.
Arthur, you know exactly what I'm asking you. That is a power statement. He's saying you're only going to be in office for 3.5 years. I'm going to be around for 40 more years. How do you, if someone tells you that, do you take that lightly? Like, do you take that as a compliment, as a threat? Like, because that sounds kind of like a threat to me. A power threat. That sounds like a power move right there.
I'm reading statements.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fact. Trump's presidency will end in 3.5 years.
I think you're looking at it though from a presidency and an age standpoint. I think that Elon is going beyond that. I think he's trying to make a power statement. You don't think he's trying to make a power statement?
I anticipate Elon living another 40 years.
Oh
so those are just statements.
Yeah. You know, do you think... You don't think he's trying to make a statement by saying that?
I can't even speculate what Elon tries to do.
Uh-huh.
Some of his antics are absolutely ridiculous. Walking in the Twitter carrying a sink.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want this to sink in.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty funny.
It's pretty stupid.
It's pretty funny. How you're saying? I guarantee you that if anybody else did that and it wasn't Elon, you would think that's funny. Seriously,
I
let
would
that
think
sink
it's-
in. I'm gonna show up with a sink to let that sink in. How is that not comedy genius?
Stupid.
Okay, Lewis, he's in comedy. You remember, and Lewis, ladies and gentlemen, I know you can't see him, but he's going to be one of our guests, and his episode will come out in the near future. Lewis, Elon, before he acquired Twitter, he said, no, this was during the process.
No. After he acquired it and walked in the door for the first
Regardless
time,
of timing.
he carried a sink.
Regardless of timing, they didn't think Elon was going to buy it. Elon did, and he said, let that sink in. And then he brought a sink to Twitter headquarters at the time, and then brought it and let that sink in. Yeah. Is that not comedy gold there?
That was pretty funny.
We're here.
Stupid.
Dark humor. That's all everything these days, if you don't have any dark humor in you, you're not going to make it in life.
Lewis said, these days, if you don't have dark humor, he says it's dark humor. I don't even think it's dark humor.
It's not even dark humor. I mean, it's just humor, but like,
yeah.
I mean, what do you expect? It's just comedy, bro. It's funny.
I think it's comedy with a punch.
Yeah.
I think it's comedy with a punch. Like, hey, I told you so. Let that sink in. You know, I don't know, Arthur. I don't know what kind of comedy you like, but I thought it was pretty funny. And I think for the most part, people probably thought it was funny.
What country club he would have left?
If it was from what do you mean by that?
Joke someone did at the country club.
But that's different. If when you're in service, you laugh at any fucking joke anybody makes.
Who did the joke?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm thinking that if it was anybody else, it wouldn't be that. But all right. So, because I read that and I'm like, oh shit. this guy's making a statement. He's saying, "I'm not going anywhere. Your time is up in 3.5 years. I'm not going anywhere. So we'll play the sing along song with you for now. But after that time passes, I'm still around." That's how I read that. And if I think I understand Elon in any little way, I think he was trying to make a power statement there. But that's just me. Where we left off about with the Elon and Trump situation, and it made up finally, and now it's all back to fairy tales and happy thoughts with them. For now. Do you think anything's going to happen in the future?
I wouldn't quite go that far with fairy tales and happy thoughts.
Yeah, sarcasm.
No, Trump holds a grudge. So Elon's position with him is not the same as it was prior.
Okay, a grudge. You say he holds a grudge.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm of the mindset of I forgive, but I don't forget. So I don't know where you draw the line between that and a grudge. So where do you draw the line with that?
It's going to come back to bite Elon at some point.
Okay, so with the intent of pulling some move on him, that's when it becomes what's it called?
Trump makes everyone eat crow.
Eat crow? Is that a reference to something?
No, that's just a saying, but perfect one was RFK, who's anti-fast food, not on Trump's airplane.
How does that apply?
He only served McDonald's and then made sure to take a photograph of RFK eating McDonald's.
So you're suggesting that Trump said, "Let's take this picture."
I'm suggesting that Trump made sure that picture was being taken and then published.
And you know that for sure.
Just look at Trump's history.
You know that for sure.
I don't know that for sure.
Okay. So you don't know that because
no, but look at Trump's history that he always comes back.
Embarrasses
everybody.
Was that not after RFK has said he was going to join Trump? Where he brought him out? Yeah. So how could it not just be just like after we're on our way back home, we're going to take a group picture on the plane back?
Specifically while they're eating McDonald's.
Okay.
If you wanted to do just a group photo, then you would do it as the group not overeating. But it was poignant that Trump made sure that
I think you're grasping at straws, if I'm being honest.
Not really.
I don't know. I think that
no.
I think you look into it a little bit too much, but we're gonna roll with it. But since we're on Trump topic, L.A.
How's Trump on L.A.?
Huh?
Trump's supposed to be on the East Coast.
So
what's he doing on the West Coast?
So funny guy. You've been seeing the whole thing with this been going on with LA and the ICE raids and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
What's your angle on it? What is it that you know about it?
I don't know enough.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we'll talk about it. Have like the details, but like your thoughts and all that stuff.
Let's start with First Amendment right is the right to peacefully protest.
Absolutely.
So if anybody was peacefully protesting and was stopped or tear gassed or attacked, we have a problem there. But I also know Trump called in the National Guard.
So I'm sorry, I blanked for a second. You said that the right to peacefully protest, but if there's tear gas and what else did you say?
If the protesters were attacked by law enforcement, the law enforcement's in the wrong.
I agree, yes.
If the protesters stopped peacefully protesting, then they were in the wrong.
Yes, I agree. Okay. Yes, because that's within.
So
that's
I don't know who started what.
Yeah,
but I just want to make sure we're clear that you have the constitutional
that's the basis
right
of our conversation. Yep.
To
I agree.
Protest.
Absolutely. So yeah, you said that he deployed the National Guard, right? So on June 6th, they were running ICE was running a sweep operation. I believe it was Westlake, which is in Southern California, and I think it was around a Home Depot. That happened, and then later the day, another one happened, and then people got word of it, and I think they went to the federal, to one of the federal buildings in, let me see here, let's see here, LA Federal Building, and then that's where everybody started riling up and trying to stop like LAPD going from place to this, that, and the other place. And then LAPD had put out on X saying that people were, quote unquote, having an unlawful assembly in downtown LA. And then that's when they started asking people to leave. That's when we started hearing everything happening. This was as we were prepping for our recording.
So they were having a peaceful protest.
LAPD stated unlawful assembly.
Peaceful protest.
What are you saying by that?
The people had a right to have a peaceful protest.
But okay, our grounds were that they're in the right to protest as long as it's peacefully.
Correct.
So by LAPD saying unlawful assembly, is
Mhm.
that not implying that at that point it was no longer peaceful? This is LAPD,
No.
by the way. This is without Trump in the picture. This is without any of them in the picture yet.
What I'm interpreting that from that is that you had a group of people peacefully protesting, and the police are saying it's an unlawful gathering.
Okay, but that's a certainty. You're for sure saying that there was. You okay? You
I
can't
don't
be
have.
certain.
I don't have.
That's what I'm
enough
saying.
Facts,
You can't.
But based on what you just said, it doesn't sound like
I'm
the police were in the right.
I'm quoting that. Let's pull up the tweet. LAPD unlawful assembly. And let's just so we get the full context. You're gonna Google on Google. go to images. Tweet. Let's see, right there. Just click on the first one. Yep. All right. This wasn't the one I saw, but let's go with this one. LAPD Central Division. The city of Los Angeles is on tactical alert. An unlawful assembly has been declared in the area of Alameda between 2nd Street and Allison Street. A dispersal order has been issued. Arrests are being made to our media partners. Please keep a safe distance from active operations. So at that point, is that not implying that it's at the point of being a not peaceful protest?
No.
How is it not?
I don't see anything that these people were doing that was illegal. If
unlawful assembly, let's put on. I know we're not lawyers. But let's put a lawyer's hat on. Unlawful assembly. That's very specific terminology.
What do you think it means?
I'm telling you what I think it means. I don't know for certain because I'm not a lawyer. But if I were,
okay,
let's look up what unlawful assembly means.
A group of people gathering without permission.
Well, it's a lawful assembly if they're peacefully protesting. If they're not peacefully protesting, at that point it becomes unlawful.
No.
Would you not agree? No? Okay, so let's look up. I love how it says in legal terms. And hold on. I could be wrong. An unlawful assembly, legal terms, is a gathering of 3 or more people with the intent to disturb the public peace or cause trouble, often by engaging in illegal activities. So at that point, it was no longer a lawful assembly.
No.
According to LAPD,
No.
What am I missing here?
Did you see the word intent?
Intent. Okay. Now let's go back to the tweet.
Okay, hold on. Keep that posted up. A gathering of 3 or more people with the intent to disturb the public peace. Okay. So
what disturbs the public peace?
Hold on.
Okay.
If 3 or more people are gathering and chanting,
Arthur,
is that not a peaceful protest?
We're arguing the word unlawful here, not assembly. Unlawful. That's the word we're discussing here.
No.
Unlawful.
No, we're not.
Arthur, an assembly. Do we really need to legally define assembly?
We already got through assembly.
Uh-huh.
I'm working on the part where you have a group of people chanting.
Chanting. So chanting, would you say that chanting, another word for chanting is protesting?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're agreeing there.
Okay. If a group of people are chanting, is that not disturbing the peace?
I would say if it's protesting, there's going to be chanting. But it's also within there, as we discussed earlier, within the First Amendment.
Correct.
Right. So we're in agreement there. So what we're not in agreement insofar in what makes it unlawful.
Right there.
Often
Disturb
by engaging.
the public peace.
Okay,
Which now you're in a gray area because
let's talk about disturb the peace.
correct.
What constitutes disturbing the peace?
If someone's chanting, is that disturbing?
Well,
the
let's look
peace?
it up, Arthur. I mean, we have Google right in front of us. Let's look it up. What?
But this
leave
is
that
where it's
open.
coming down. The tweet that
What
came out.
constitutes disturbing the peace? Sorry, just so we got the right. Sorry, disturbance of the peace is a generic term encompassing a variety of conduct that violates public order, disturbs the public, or incites violence, including any violation of any law enacted to preserve peace and good order. So, disturbing the peace means that it's acting against the law. Are we in agreement of that? Were we in agreement to that? Let's go back to that tab that we were just on.
And
Unlawful
if
assembly.
people gather, protest, chant, is
A
that
chant-
not disturbing the
A
peace?
chant is not illegal.
Correct.
A chant. People go to concerts and they chant. That doesn't make it illegal. That makes it a concert where people are gathering and
It's
chant.
in this situation, it sounds like the LAPD took action on a peaceful protest.
No.
I have not seen you say or bring up any statements that say otherwise.
We were,
but based on what you just brought up, it sounds like
Well,
law
let's go-
enforcement went after a peaceful
well, let's go
protest.
to LAPD. So you're saying that LAPD acted against a citizen?
Based on what you just
LAPD.
brought up.
LAPD.
What
okay.
you just brought up.
Okay, so again, an unlawful assembly has been declared. Okay, a dispersal order, arrests are being made. Unlawful assembly. We've agreed assembly is a gathering of people.
Who declared it unlawful?
LAPD.
And why?
Because
It doesn't say.
it became unlawful. It was no longer a peaceful protest.
That's not stated.
Huh?
That's not stated.
Arthur, but
These are
that's-
vague terms to
Oh.
cover your ass in case you're in the wrong.
In case LAPD is wrong.
Yep. No one can get fired for that. It's vague. This is what lawyers do and get paid to do. To argue words and terms and interpretation of them. This is not clear. If it said that there was violence and attacks, well then, yeah, that makes it very clear. But they didn't say that. They just said unlawful.
They made a statement.
And
They made a statement without providing specific details on
Correct.
what led up to that point.
correct.
We don't know that. We're not arguing
Correct.
that. We're not arguing that. But what I am saying is that this tweet implies that it
Implies.
That's what I said at first.
Implies. It doesn't
Unlawful
definitively
assembly
state
implies
there
that
is
it's no-
something wrong.
Arthur, we started with the First Amendment right and people having the right to peacefully protest.
Yep.
We were in agreement on that. We're in agreement that an assembly is a gathering of people, right?
Yep.
We all agreed that chanting, depending on in what subject matter it is, it could be peaceful or it could be unpeaceful. When it becomes unpeaceful, it's when it becomes unlawful, when it incites some sort of violence or somehow breaking some form of law.
I would want to understand why they declared it unlawful. Because if it was just a matter of people chanting, then they're in the wrong.
Okay. No, I agree. I agree with you that if you saw the video of the day of, there was a lot of violence, but the answer is always going to come down to
But that
who
was
started it.
after.
Who started it.
Correct.
That's what it comes down to. I understand that. But you and I
Did
just
Elon
discussed-
get punched first, or did he attack
you
someone?
and I are just well. That's different because if he shoved the guy into the rib cage, Bennett, whatever it is, Bennett into the rib cage, it's clear. It's beyond reasonable doubt at that point. You know, if you want to use legal terms. But we're talking about unlawful assembly. That's LAPD implying that at that point it was no longer a peaceful protest. Yes, we don't know what led them to that point. We don't know what was happening in the station. I was like, all right, we need to file a statement here. We don't know that, but that's what that's implying. So that was June 6th. That was Friday. And let me see the timeline here. So that's when LAPD had that issued the unlawful assembly, and on June 7th, there was a rumor that ICE was going to be around an area nearby of where they were there having another in operation. It was a rumor. It's supposedly a fake rumor. So anti-ICE protesters gathered there to kind of protest, right? And at that point, a few hours later, that's when Trump issued the 2,000 National Guard call.
Okay.
And they arrived the next day. So it just progressively picked up, right? So that added up. And then early morning on June 8th, like I said, it arrived. And then that day, Major Karen Bass.
Well, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
You just glossed right over. Trump issued the National Guard.
Yes.
Did the governor
I'm going through the
ask-
timeline.
Did the governor ask him?
No, it was the first time in LA. Not the first time, and I forget how long that he federally issued the National Guard to LA to help out with LAPD. So, yes, I mean I'm not saying that's a fact.
It was.
I'm not arguing
power.
that. I haven't gathered an opinion on that just yet, so I can't really. Abuse of power, okay, what leads you to say it was an abuse of power? That he didn't go through the channels.
The governor didn't ask for help. And then when you deploy the National Guard, it actually escalates the situation versus de-escalating.
Escalates the situations in terms of what's it called? Assistance, legal assistance.
When the National Guard shows up in their body armor and their face shields, it's like they're prepared for war and an attack. That makes everything worse.
Well, that's their uniform.
Well, we have to remember, when there was a series of protests after police brutality a couple of years ago, one of the mayors of one of the cities instructed his team to remove this body armor and then go join the protesters arm in arm in support of what happened. And there were no riots in that town. Now, in other towns, when everyone was all lined up in body armor, ready to fight, shit got bad.
I think it takes two to mingle. So, and it is going to keep coming back down to who is
it's not
it
a
that
threatening action to show up in body armor.
Here's what I think, right? I don't think we should be afraid of our National Guard. I don't think we should be afraid of LAPD. I don't think we should be afraid of our Marines, because they're supposed to serve and protect. They swear to serve and protect the American people. Now, given the context and all the fear mongering that's been happening and all the scary stuff, I could see that. But it's because there's always a bad apple in every bunch. Because there could be I've seen videos where it appears that, like, there was the one video of the news reporter, right, where she got shot in the leg. I think one of the National Guard people thought that she was someone that threw something at him, and then she shot her in the leg, which seems stupid because she's carrying a mic and someone has a whole freaking camera at her. One would think twice before doing some shit like that. But there was definitely, I wouldn't call any of this peaceful. If you saw some of the videos, I mean, let's just pull up some of the videos.
Who threw the first stone?
We don't know.
Well, that's
we don't know.
problem.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not pointing fingers at who's starting. No. Go to my notes, EP notes. Yep, and then go to ICE LA raids, and then go to see other thoughts, and then click on that first point. I mean, none of this is peaceful, man. I mean, go ahead, click. None of this is peaceful. First off, what the hell did Waymo do to everybody in LA? Because these are the Waymo cars. You ever heard of the Waymo cars? They're those self-driving cars that just shows up and takes you to your destination.
Okay.
Have you heard of them?
No.
Oh my jeez. Okay, yeah, so they're pretty big in cities like LA. I think San Fran has a good amount of them as well. But why are we lighting on fire Waymos? What the hell did the Waymos do? They were literally just trying to get to. I believe the full picture on this was they were just in this nation back to their stations because of what's it called, the raids that what started happening. So the company had tried to get them back to their stations so they don't get damaged, and then this happens. This is not peaceful. None of this is peaceful, and we're in agreement that you have your First Amendment, but this is not peaceful.
How did it escalate to this?
Okay, but do two wrongs make a right in your opinion?
How did it escalate to this?
Well, very subjective question. Do two wrongs make a right in your opinion?
no.
Do you think that an eye for an eye makes the world go blind?
An eye for an eye makes the world go blind. Yes.
Okay. So I don't know. This is nothing peaceful to me. So that's what's going on now, and it's escalating now. There's going to be a thing called No Kings, National Day of Defiance. It's happening tomorrow. If you go to other details in the same topic and go to the third point and go to ORG website. Yep, ORG website. So this is the movement that's happening now. In America, we don't do kings. If you want to scroll all the way down, it show you all of where it's happening. That's all of where it's happening tomorrow.
Okay.
It's 1,800 communities across the country. Yeah. Yeah. So that's scary. What was that one movie we saw that had that it was about the news reporters and like the whole country was divided? The Netflix movie.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it.
You guys ever seen that movie? It's like the Netflix movie where it's like the news reporters and they're going across the country as like it's like destroying itself. Don't look up. Is that what it is? I think look it up. Don't look up because this. Under Fire journal. Look up the title name and then
That's what it's called.
don't look up.
Don't look up. Was it Leo?
No. So Alexis, click Under Fire Journalists in Combat and then look at images. No. I don't have Netflix. You're not gonna be able to see it. Just copy and paste the title and then go to images, because then you'll see what the cover of the movie is. Go to images. No, what was it? Movie. Look this up. Go to Google and then maybe AI will help. Type movie about news reporters documenting the destruction of America during a civil war. Because it was a really good movie. Was it called Civil War? Did you? So, So look up now. Look up Civil War 2024 premises. You could get rid of Netflix. Synopsis is the right word. Synopsis. Synopsis
would be the summary of
Yeah,
it. Premise
yeah.
would be the basis of it.
Yeah. Go synopsis. Yep. So there's that. Let's read this real quick. Go to all. See what it. Go to AI mode. And then okay. Ooh. So it's a dystopian thriller set in the near future United States engulfed in a civil war. The film follows a group of journalists led by acclaimed war photographer Lee Smith as they undertake I never even heard that word. What's that word? Perilous journey from New York City to Washington, D.C. And essentially, different states were against each other, but they were also trying to kill the president. I remember California was one of the big problems with the movie. So it sounds exactly like very close to that. So that's what's happening. Go back to the organization website. I wonder what their mission statement is. Go back up to see if they have a mission statement. Let's look at this video. They've defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets, attacked our civil rights, and slashed our services. The corruption has gone too far. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. Arthur, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know what to tell you. America voted for a dictator, and now they're upset they got one?
What are your thoughts on this movement? We know you don't like Trump. I'm not gonna ask you one day, like from the next, that if you just woke up today and decided that you're kind of missing Trump or thinking about Trump in a light matter. I know you don't like him. What do you think about this movement?
It's not going to solve anything.
Unpack that a little bit more. What do you mean by that?
What's it going to do? If people feel better because they got to congregate and support that they're against what's happening in this country, that's great. Nothing's going to change.
You think we're in grounds for a civil war? Potentially?
We're on grounds of the end of democracy.
It's interesting. I don't know. We'll see tomorrow. And we'll see tomorrow what's going to happen. We'll see then.
Going?
Huh?
Are you going?
Fuck no. I got a job. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
No.
Did we get to tailgate before?
I feel like I'm in North Korea or something.
No shit.
Now, the other thing that happened this evening was you started to make your journey here and had to turn around because you forgot your wallet. Why did you need to have your wallet? Were you afraid that if you got stopped without
Wow.
ID, you could be one of these
You
people
went
that
there.
deported?
Wow. And you were coming at dark humor earlier. Wow. Wow.
There's nothing dark about it.
Oh, really? So a person bringing a sink to a headquarters saying, let it sink
That's
in.
stupid.
But, oh, wow. Wow. Okay. That's a good one, Arthur. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
American citizens are being caught up in these raids and being held, and one of them had to go to court in front of a judge for the judge to say, you got to release her because she's a citizen who was born here.
Yeah. No, I hear you. No, I totally get you, because here's the thing. I don't even have what's it called, the license with the star on it. So hey, it's free
So
game.
you were concerned.
It's free. I wasn't concerned at all.
Wanna
But
make sure you
I
had your
see
ID.
where you draw the concern.
I mean, it would have sucked if you were deported to Mexico.
Wait, what?
Country you're not even from. You think they're going to stop and go, well, wait a minute, I'm illegal, but I originally came from Ecuador, so if you're going to deport me anywhere, it needs to be back there. No, they're not going to listen.
You
They're
just
gonna
went full on, huh?
pack you up and ship you wherever.
You just took that joke and you ran with it. Sheesh. Okay. All right, Arthur. Man, that's as we said earlier, as long as it's peaceful, I hope that, no one else gets hurt, because there are people that are in the line of duty of being a cop, a National Guard, a Marine, where they're putting their lives out there, at risk every single day, and then they go out to work, and there's no guarantee that they're going to come back that night. And same thing with civilians. We step out. You ever seen that show way back when called 1,000 Ways to Die? We could die like in any moment. Something could happen, and we're screwed. So hopefully it remains, it's as peaceful as it can be. But let's move on, Arthur. Let's go on a lighter tone. I'll let you take the lead here, and then we'll wrap it up.
Oh, lighter tone. Okay.
Or do you want to keep going dark since you've been...
No, we should always try to end up on upbeat.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, airport lounges are now harder to get into.
Why?
Well, I think it's a result of their own success.
Oh, let me guess. Too many people have access to one primary account, and now everybody's taking advantage of the lounge access.
I think it's a little bit more than that.
Okay.
Because when you get down to it, when you go to the airport,
I
and
love
have
that
some
you
time
went into
to
the
care.
subject, by the way. I'm sorry. I love, because I want to go somewhere real quick after that. But go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So you go to the airport and have some time to kill to get something to eat. What's it cost?
McDonald's. $10
for McDonald's.
Yeah.
Did you go to the bar?
15 these days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you go to the bar
Did I go to the bar?
in the airport? Get a drink?
Yeah, I'm spending like $50.
Okay, perfect. So
Yeah.
you're spending $50
Yeah.
for McDonald's and 2 drinks.
Mm-hmm.
So would you pay $75 for access to the lounge,
And the limited stuff.
unlimited food and drink, comfortable chairs, sofas, and you'd be able just to relax?
Well, I'm afraid they won't let me on the plane after the lounge because I might have a little bit too much fun in there. Okay. So
But
what's
that's
going
what
on?
it's coming down to. The lounge is...
You could pay 75. Oh, you're talking about the card, the annual fee.
No, I'm just a day pass for a lounge.
That's a thing now.
It's always been.
That takes away from the whole point, doesn't it?
You've always been able to buy a day pass for a lounge.
I didn't know that. I thought you had to be a card member to access.
Now
this
you're
lounge.
realizing you've missed out all those opportunities?
Well,
Unlimited drinks, better food.
Huh. I never thought. No, that kills the whole point because it's not a gym. You don't get a day pass.
Yes, you do. You can.
No way. All right,
Yes.
look this up. What airlines allow you to get a day pass
All of
into
them.
their private lounges?
All of them.
Shoot, I'm about to just hang out at a private lounge just to hang out at a private lounge.
Plus, then you get other benefits. If you're there for a long period of time, a
So you
lot
show
of
more?
them have private showers so you can clean up, especially if
Yeah.
you're- yeah.
Some even have massages in there.
Well-
I've seen some with massages.
Yes, but there might be an additional fee for that.
Yeah. Shoot. So
But right there, based on the price of a hamburger and a couple of drinks, you're almost at that price. So why not spend another $20 more and get 3 drinks? And now you're just broke even.
are we still talking about an airport at
Yes.
this point? Jeez, this sounds like an Equinox now.
Are you going to start partying at airport lounges instead of going other places in Philly?
This is like
$75 for the evening is a
Shoot.
lot better than, where's it going in Philly? The Comcast
Oh, Xfinity Live?
Xfinity Live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can get off a whole lot cheaper.
Dude,
Can spend the whole day.
one Eagles season, I paid $50. Well, we paid $50 each to skip the line. But at that point, the skip the line became a line. So it killed the whole freaking point. So several airlines, including American, Alaska, and United, allow passengers to purchase day passes for the airport lounges. Delta Airlines does not offer this option. Huh. Yeah, but... Huh. Okay. Wait. So okay. I thought you were talking about the credit card companies. You're talking about specifically about the airlines.
The credit card companies, part of their perks is when you pay the $3.95 to $6.95 annual membership fee, then give you lounge access.
Yeah. Huh.
But if you don't do that, you can just buy the day pass. But if you're going to get something to eat and a couple of drinks, you're almost paying for the day pass at the restaurant. So why not buy the day pass and just sit and relax until it's time to get on the plane?
So, speaking of planes, did you hear about the?
Now we're not going to end on a happy note.
You made it too easy, man. Did you hear about the plane from India that crashed to London?
I heard a plane crashed.
Did you hear that only one
That there's
of
one
the
survivor.
I think it was out of 292 passengers, one survived.
242.
Sorry.
Something.
242, one survived. Can you imagine that? I think he was sitting on seat A11. Is that what it was? A11? 11A.
Well, they're not going to charge a high surcharge for seat
That-
11A on all airlines.
That just became the first class of the first classes. That's insane, though. So it was Air India flight, a Boeing 787. Go figure. Dreamliner was traveling from, I don't want to butcher this name, Ahmedabad to London. So it crashed into a hostel, and the sole survivor was, I'm going to call him Ramesh, a British citizen. He was the only passenger to survive. He apparently seated near the emergency exit and escaped through a broken hatch. Talk about luck. And he was with his brother. So I believe he was with his brother. And he had lost his brother, but he lived to now, live it to the after fact of all this. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. What are your thoughts on that? Well, we'll close out on that. I mean, I know. See, call it a grateful note. You know, to be happy because you never know. We spoke about so many. We could die at any point. What are your reactions to that?
I'd be curious to find out the details on what happened because these large planes don't crash every day. So there's
Boeings don't
they
crash.
crash every day.
No shit, not every day.
Still safer to fly than drive.
That is, dude, that's not the same comparison though.
How's it not?
Because if I could drive somewhere and not have to fly, I'll do. Oh, that's not true.
Oh, you're okay.
I'm not driving to Florida.
Okay.
I'm not driving
Just
to Florida.
checking.
Okay. All right. Well, Arthur, thank you so much for doing another episode of Beyond the Headlines with me once again. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed what you saw here, our discussion, our banter, and our back and forth, and our lawful assembly here, please like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on the notification bells. If you want to support us, please visit eppodcast.us. And until next time.